Hi everyone and welcome back to another episode. Today we are on episode 9. We're doing something a little bit different, which is a podcast style. We're here with some of GMG's closest business partners and friends. I'll let everyone introduce themselves to you personally. They'll let them know what their name is and how long they've been in the industry, starting with my left.
Hi, I'm Pete from Masterpiece Jewellers. We're based in London. We established in 2016, although I've been in the trade since 1998 when I left school, brought in by family. And yeah, it's all I know.
And we'll go to the right.
I'm Ricky Colby, got Colebys Jewellers. We're based in London, been going about 30 years now. That's it, yeah, love the watch and jewellery business.
So?
My name's Ish. I run Tempus in the city with my wife. The company's been around since July 2020, but overall been in the industry for about 18 years. Love what we do.
And if you don't know by now, this is Lee.
Hi, Lee from GMG.
And obviously I'm Kieran, and then we've got Johnny mastering this today. On your own. So yeah, we'll. This is take 2, as we didn't have the recording on before, just to break the ice.
A bit like deja vu.
Yeah, no, we've just done this all before. But yeah, let's jump into it with current state of the market, thoughts on it, if you think it's a good thing at the minute, where you think it's going to go, price is going to go up again or down, what's your expectations?
I think things have levelled off now.
Yeah.
I think a bad time to buy was probably 6 months ago, but no one knew that at the time. But a good time to buy is now, because I don't think price can come any lower.
Yeah,
there could be
think,
the odd watch that still could, but in general I'd say 90% of the main watches that people like and buy or desire are pretty safe now.
Well, they've plateaued, haven't they? And you know, if you look historically to this point last year, the prices are exactly where they were this point last year.
Yeah,
we just had a
definitely.
mad run of 7 to 8 months
Yeah.
of, you know, where people kind of couldn't keep up with what was going on in the industry.
Yeah.
To now, actually, it's levelled off to being sensible again.
Well, we couldn't keep up with
No,
the industry.
that's what I mean, yeah, we couldn't keep
minute
up.
to minute,
Yeah.
the
It's
prices,
funny.
you bought a watch, sold it, the next one cost you
Yeah.
£2 more.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that, Pete, because we looked this morning, funnily enough, we looked at some of the archive stories from a year ago on our Instagram, and the prices were pretty much spot on. I mean, there was a chocolate Daytona Oyster Flex that was 35,000, and this was in October 2020. We're now in November 2021. We're now in November 2022. And I think I'd be selling at about 35k today. Yeah. So
And probably at the peak, 45?
yeah, at the peak,
Or
yeah,
so.
possibly,
48,
yeah, possibly
you
a touch more. But
Diamond Dial
yeah,
56,
yeah,
you know.
yeah.
So
But I don't know if they'll get back to those kind of figures. Certainly not in the near future. But at the moment, as you said, right time, or not necessarily right time, but it's definitely more of a buyer's market than a seller's market right
listen,
now.
It's a bit more realistic now. I think, with
but
pricing.
you know, what should give people confidence as well is that actually the prices have reached those numbers before. So inevitably, it might not be next year or the year after, but you know, if we follow trends in the past, if a watch reaches a price, it will always get there again. You know, whether it's now or whether it's in 3 to 5 years time.
Yeah.
Because Patek done it, didn't they?
Yeah.
You know, when you know 5980s were 200 grand, and then overnight they were 90 grand.
Yeah.
You know, and then they went up to 300 grand.
Yeah.
You know, and they're back down to 210, 220 now.
And the people
So-
that had them at 200 didn't cash out,
No.
kept it.
Correct.
And then saw the 300k.
That's right.
Similar
That's
sort of,
right.
thing.
You know.
I think watches over a medium to long-term investment, and I've
Always.
collected watches for 25, 30 years,
Yeah.
over a medium to long-term investment are still a good and safe investment.
Yeah.
But too many people, I think, look at them as a short-term investment, and that's probably where...
But you know what people don't factor in, and I tell people all the time, is that if you bought a watch for 10 grand, wore it for 20 years, and chucked it in the bin, it's cost you £500 a year.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it's never worthless. You'd always be able to sell it for
Always.
something.
Yeah, yeah.
In 20 years, it'll be worth more than you give, with
100%.
inflation and everything else. If you've got kids, give it to your son, give it to whoever. He might wear it for 30, 40 years. Right? So people always look at the money is today and what's it going to be worth next week, next month.
Yeah.
Like, don't really buy it if you're...
Well, that's what we were saying before when it wasn't recorded, was the fact that
It's the short term.
it's the short term and it's people that are buying for investment, whereas now what we're seeing a lot more, or certainly I'm seeing a lot more actual watch lovers, watch collectors buying watches from me now.
Yeah.
And it's gone back to how it sort of used to be before. I guess before people saw them as, I can make £5,000 in a week or in a month or in
Well,
a...
going back to what Ricky said as well about, you know, you've kept it for 20 years and, you know, you've paid 10 grand for it 20 years ago and worn it. you know, people are going and buying cars and losing 10 grand the minute they drive off the forecourt.
yeah.
ridiculous.
You
10
know,
grand if you're lucky.
If you're lucky,
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what I mean. So actually, you know, all right, there's been an adjustment in the price of what you bought, but you're actually not really upside down.
No.
But it's no different to your house. If your house went up 100% in 2 years, you don't necessarily sell it. You just go, that's good, it's gone up 100%.
Correct.
You still got to live somewhere. So the next house you buy is going to cost you more if you
Yeah.
sell it then.
Yeah,
That's
because
right.
the whole
If it
market's
drops
gone
off,
up like that.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
it drops off,
Yeah.
the next house you buy is going to be cheaper.
Yeah.
That's exactly
So
it.
it's all so,
Yeah.
and no one rushes out to. It seemed like there's a craze in watches that, oh, the prices have dropped off a bit. Less will go out and sell them. Well, you're making the market go
That's
down.
a panic
Yeah.
sale.
That's-
Yeah.
yeah, that's
By
exactly
being
what I'm
desperate to
saying.
be
Yeah.
out. It's not like
Yeah.
stocks and shares. People do the same. Panic to get out of it. If you all hold on,
Yeah, it's funny. That's what you said before about the market isn't dropping per se. It's that someone ultimately sells off something cheap,
Yeah.
and that now sets a new bottom price.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, people feel like they need to follow that, but that's not the market condition. It's
See, we thought that was going to happen in COVID, where everything was going
correct.
gonna
That's
hit the
exactly
floor.
what we
Yeah.
thought.
And
And it went the opposite way.
Everything went the
Yeah.
opposite
Yeah.
way because people wanted a commodity that they could hold.
Yeah.
and everyone had spare money.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
everyone had spare money and they wanted a commodity that they could hold.
I don't know
You
about
know.
you boys, but I also found that I was also selling to people that had never bought a watch before.
Newbies.
That just
Yeah,
heard their
Yeah.
friend had made 5k
Yeah.
on a
Yeah,
Rolex,
yeah.
for
Yeah.
Of
example.
course.
And
People
all of a
sit at
sudden they had
home bored
20k
as well.
savings in their account and thought, I want to spend the whole 20k on a watch in the hope that next week, because some guy said it's worth
Well,
my
at
best
least they're
friend.
spending their own money.
Yeah.
Everyone
Yeah.
jumped on the bounce back loan on the 50
That's
grand.
yeah.
You know, they're you know,
Yeah.
Do you,
plumber and
do you
buying a
boys
50
deal with
grand watch
finance?
that-
Do you offer finance as a company?
No, it's something I want to start doing.
I used to do it.
Yeah,
The only problem we found was when you got like ADs giving interest free on a Breitling,
Yeah.
Amigo or whatever, they can do that because they've got the margins. But
difficult for you.
when you're selling Rolexes and
Yeah.
stuff,
Yeah.
you'll be lucky to earn 10%.
Yeah.
So if you're earning 5-10%,
Yeah.
then how can you be giving a kickback to the insurance company to give interest-free credit?
Credit, yeah.
There's no such thing as free money, is there?
No, exactly.
So
yeah,
if you're giving a kickback, and then
Yeah.
if you offer it at, to be fair, a lot of people, if they're paying a bit of interest, most people don't care because
Yeah.
all they want to know is
what's the monthly payment?
it's £100 a month.
Yeah, that's what they pay
For a million years, they don't
Yeah,
care.
yeah,
right?
yeah.
They just want to know it's £100 a month. That's it. I can walk out with this watch.
Can you not charge them more because
See,
they've gone?
You don't
for
become
the,
competitive then. That's
The thing is, there is
you're only
places-
competitive if you're putting up the money
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah.
You know, so if you want the luxury of the interest,
I think
you may
there's
have
still
to pay
the-
for the
I
privilege
see
of
what
your
happened now.
interest
So
free or not.
so we was doing finance. We sent a few watches through it. Then around COVID times, those, and I know a few people with finance companies and stuff, and they were saying that pretty
tightening
much
the belts.
they were just
Yeah, we saw it.
Not
yeah.
Not lending money.
Not
Yeah.
lending,
So what it
yeah.
was doing is, unless you was a tried,
You look bad to the
tested
customer.
You know,
customer,
Because the customer's not, you're telling the customer, yes, we offer finance, we'll put you through, and then they're rejecting the application, and it was not
and
That's
the,
my
and the other
mind
thing is as well,
experience.
I know people that like, got good businesses and that. And a lot of people with money still don't want to spend it.
Some of
They
them want to
can-
finance it, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they want a
yeah.
bit of finance,
Yeah.
put half in, and or I don't think you put half in. I think you can only put 25% of the
25 to 30, isn't it?
yeah, that's it, something like that. Yeah. So because this particular fellow wanted to put 50% in, they wouldn't let him. They said you have to borrow more, which don't make no sense. And then they declined him.
Especially
Yeah.
when it's interest free.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had similar.
You know.
Yeah, and then they declined him. So, but then he just paid for it. But
But he didn't want to. He wanted to use their money.
Yeah.
yeah.
and as it worked out that, but it was actually quite embarrassing, quite awkward because he knew he could pay for it. I knew he could pay for it, but I
Yeah.
knew that he just wanted to.
And you're the one that's got to relay the message as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
To say that you've
Yeah.
been declined.
So we was getting, I think, at the peak, was probably getting 10 out of 12
Declined.
declined.
Yeah.
So we just stopped doing it.
Yeah, that's we had a similar story. It didn't work well for us. That and the fact that I think it's a different type of customer that wants a watch when they're asking for finance.
Yeah.
And also, like with a finance company that's going to go and finance a car, they can go and put a tracker on it so they know where it is all
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah.
You know, with a watch,
Yeah.
you know,
Kind of untraceable.
It's
isn't it?
untraceable.
it's
exactly.
untraceable.
Yeah,
You
that,
know.
yeah.
Yeah,
fair.
if they
So the
decide
risk
to start
goes up.
paying up and stuff. And
The risk
they're out
goes
of
up.
watch
For
and-
for the lender, the risk has gone up tenfold.
Yeah.
So overall, it's just not worth doing finance, you'd say, in terms of
For some people it works. If
Yeah,
you're
what-
an AD,
yeah.
and you sell Brightons and Megas and all that's great.
the grey market. Not
Someone's
so
going to buy a
much.
10 grand watch when they've got 5 grand. So that's
Yeah.
going to happen.
Yeah.
But
I think
Yeah,
people
the
like maybe
markups
Watchfinder, it might
100%,
work well
isn't it?
because they also do a lot of the lower value stuff,
Yeah.
2, 3, 4 grand watches.
Yeah.
They probably cater more to that market, but
I think it's something I'll probably still try just to say I've done it and
It's a lot of hoops to jump through as well.
But I've heard it's like a nightmare trying to get it on
There's
board.
certain companies that you find that are much simpler.
Yeah, more
I've got a
accessible.
friend, I'll speak to him, I've got a friend that is just, they wasn't doing it during the COVID time, they sent it up then, but they was adding watch finance to, I'll speak to him, but it was meant to be very simple.
Yeah, so we looked at that as well with some friends, and it was going to be like a self-funded finance, where you actually secure something against the loan. But it was just to get it actually, the I's dotted and the T's crossed was, it was just too much ag for
more
what
ag
you're
than
going to
it's
get.
worth, maybe.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And do you know what? Often people find a way. They borrow the money off their dad, their mum, their aunt, their brother, their sister. Or something. Do you know what I mean?
When they want it, they get it.
When they want it,
Exactly.
if they're a few grand away, people, if they want it enough, they find a way, don't they?
Yeah, we accept credit cards, but the fees on some are quite high.
Yeah. I tend to stay away from Amex.
Yeah.
Someone says, can you pay by Amex?
Yeah, but to be honest with you, Amex now, since I went away from them and they called me to go back to them, have actually given me a great rate. I think it's like 1.8% now.
That's not so bad. Yeah.
Whereas before it was like nearly 5.
Yeah.
The business debit card, they charge 1.8%, they charge 1.8%.
Now they are.
Yeah.
Business debit,
Whereas before it was like a flat
45p.
fee. 45p.
Client did an £8,700 transaction the other day and cost me 212 quid.
Yeah.
Too much money.
It's too much. That's 3%.
Way too
But
much.
people don't understand when you say if you pay by a business debit card, we agreed this for a transfer.
Not for a debit card, not for a card payment.
They think it comes straight out of my account, straight into yours. Well, in theory, tomorrow or whenever, but it's still going to cost me 1.8%, which the margins on watches.
We're looking.
Especially if you give a bit of discount or whatever else. All of a
So
sudden
you're
now
going
it's
to.
like,
That's why they come to buy from you. Or,
And at the moment, some of the watches you're taking hits on.
Yeah.
That watch, £8,700. I think I paid about £8,500 for it, so I didn't even make a profit. But out of the watch and move on to the next. You know.
of course.
This is one of the things, people have been asking about is, and they've liked in one of our other videos, he said, we like the transparency if you go in. Bobby did a piece and he was like, this is how much we buy this for, this is typically how much we sell it for. And I don't think people realise that the margins on these watches aren't typically as big as they would think because it's a 20 grand watch.
16 grand, you're making 16 grand.
You still get. I don't get it so much recently, but you get the odd customer thinking you paid retail for it.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish
discount
we
retail.
paid retail.
Yeah, discount retail.
I still have people asking me how much discount you get me on a steel Daytona.
Yeah. Oh, I had one guy who, after the first YouTube, we said something about a Daytona. I think we must have mentioned the retail price or said something around it. Not that watch cost us retail or anything, but he then messaged me and said, asked me how much. I said whatever it was, 32 grand. And he said, oh, I thought it was retail. So he obviously didn't understand what the conversation.
What retail actually means in for a Daytona.
Yeah.
But when you say retail customer as well, you mean to like the endy or the person buying it on the other side, not necessarily
RRP.
buying it from the shop.
Not RRP.
I think there's always a stigma as well that our industry looks, look, from the outside does look very glamorous, but it's not until you're on our side that you're like, people go to me all the time, oh, how do I become a watch dealer? And I'm like, are you sure?
I'd say don't.
Are you sure?
Avoid it.
But you've seen a conveyor belt of new, since COVID, your new watch dealers have popped up. Some have lasted and some are good dealers, and some, when the going got tough,
Well, these times
no
have a
longer
clear
around.
out, don't they?
Yeah.
Because only the strong survive, don't they? So that's when.
And we've been through the cycles, not one or two. We've seen it.
And other people don't. When you're in a rising market and everything's going, anyone
then think
who's
it's
got
great.
a bit of money,
Yeah.
it's easy to go, well, right, stick something in the safe, leave it there, and not a rose olive, and ask £5 grand more for it in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, I mean,
In that market, anyone can make money, can't they?
Correct. Yeah.
Would you say as well then people that jumped on that bandwagon maybe specifically during or after COVID, do you think they're the kind of people that also affect the market later on when they're, say, buying high, it's crashing a little bit, and then they're panic selling, driving the prices down?
And I think don't forget a lot of people borrow money, so
to buy,
it might be their money, they might have borrowed money to buy, and not so much that when people borrow money it's a problem or issue because everyone might do that at points of time. But what I would say is the problem is then if they're under pressure to pay it back or whatever else.
Or the asset's worth less than the borrow.
They've borrowed 50 grand, the watch isn't to buy a watch thinking they get £5 grand profit. Now it's a 8 grand loss.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden where are they? So, and what also happens is I think people get a bit desperate. Oh, it's crashing and whatever else. But they're the people who generally say that.
Helping
because now they're
crash the
thinking, I'm
market.
getting out of this now. I don't like this watch game no more. I'm getting out of it. So they're the ones that sell things like So when someone sells something at 10 grand under their cost or 5 grand under their cost at normal times,
Yeah.
because their customers let them down, or someone calls something on and lets them down because they don't realise that does happen.
Yeah.
But
The
I think
biggest problem is now when people are starting to dump stuff, they're putting it in groups with thousands of people in there.
Yeah.
So everyone thinks, oh God, is that what's going to happen to mine now?
Yeah.
So everyone starts panic selling at that price. So week on week, you're seeing a negative correction where it's a myth, because actually it was never worth that low in the first instance.
The watches are no easier to get.
No, they're
true.
not. They're actually harder
They're still
to get.
harder to get,
Yeah, they're harder
and the
to get.
pool's still there
Yeah.
in theory. I mean, the money's still there, but are they actually pulling the trigger and buying
The only thing I
watch?
think that needed correcting.
Customer confidence.
The only thing I think needed correcting was with what Flippers was getting, as opposed to where in the peak it was a Flipper's dream,
Yeah.
because they'll call 10 watch dealers and they're all fighting to buy it, and everyone's
Yes.
giving, I'll give another
Yeah.
500.
Now they're getting
another
offered below
200.
retail.
Yeah.
Now they're getting not interested, got too much
Yeah.
stock,
Yeah.
don't need
Yeah.
it, don't want it. So
Yeah.
now all of a sudden they're calling 10 people.
Yeah.
They're getting 9 no's without even hearing the
And
price.
they're lucky to
On
get a
offer.
bid. Yeah, they're lucky
Yeah.
to get a bid now.
Whereas before,
Yeah.
people, throwing the price out
Yeah.
without even listening to what they were prepared
Yeah.
to sell it for in the first
Yeah.
instance,
And the stuff-
which forced the market.
Yeah.
The stuff that's not fresh from an AD, so not the flippers, what's happening now is they're calling them 10 dealers who aren't buying those watches, or they're offering a really low price if they're offering at all. Then they speak to a broker. Broker takes the watch at that low price, puts it in a group at 250, 500 more. And the problem you've got, those dealers that were originally saying no, now may have a client for it, so now they want the watch. So then they're paying that price. And ultimately, the broker or the flipper, the glorified flipper, has now set the bottom of the market on that price. And it happened recently, no names, but it happened recently on a Panda. And this Panda here that I've got here, I paid 28,250 for this watch not that long ago, 2020. It's now probably 24 and a half grand watch in the trade, and that's within a month.
Yeah.
And that's all because someone put a 2022 in at 24 and a half grand. Thankfully, it's moved up a little bit from there.
Yeah.
But he really did set
Yeah.
the bottom at that
But
price.
the maddest thing is, the Daytona's the one watch that this year especially shouldn't be correcting
No.
Yeah.
at all, because
Yeah.
it's actually, come March, it's the 60th anniversary of the Daytona.
Yeah.
So
Likely to
what's
discontinue
gonna
the whole range.
discontinue, what's going to be
Yeah.
new?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
really, everyone should be buying them and tucking them away.
So the classic. I mean, they've always been
Daytona
an
or subs.
iconic,
Yeah.
Yeah.
classic,
it's,
Best
you
watch.
know,
kind of. Look, most unpopular watch in the 60s, one that no one bought, the only one they discounted,
Yeah.
and now they've sold in the millions.
They,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
Some of the
Yeah.
rarest
Paul,
examples.
Paul Newman
Yeah.
started
ADs
it.
aren't even
started them.
taking registration of
Yeah.
interest on Daytona
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
No.
That
Even if
touches
you
on what-
bought.
sorry. No, but that touches on what you were saying before about people buying.
Yeah.
Like, you might buy a watch 20 years earlier,
Yeah.
and it might not be anything. But if you hold on to that and enjoy it and wear it and wear it and wear it, you never know. Like,
Well,
20, 30
example
years time,
example
wow.
is, I've got a
Zenith.
6265
Paul
Big
Newman.
Red.
Big red.
Yeah.
1989
Yeah.
in England. What am I talking about? At the time, or when it was bought, it was probably 1,200 quid.
Yeah.
I'm guessing 1989. Do you reckon?
Maybe earlier.
Yeah.
right.
No, 89.
What would
After-
the retail been?
Yeah.
Oh,
maybe
oh,
1,600 quid.
Yeah.
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 1,600 quid
Yeah.
or so.
Yeah.
Right? In 1989. We're asking 85 grand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got a 62, 63 with
Yeah.
Oyster. Not, it doesn't even say Cosmograph date on it, just says Oyster on the dial. Slightly unique.
It's
yeah.
like the Sea Dweller
yeah.
double red.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, no one wanted the Sea Dweller. Everyone wanted the sub.
Yeah.
You know, but a Sea
Yeah.
Dweller double red vintage. This is 1977. 58 and a half grand now. You know,
Yeah.
what was it? 900 quid to buy back then? Maybe less.
And the beauty
And
of
probably
that
not
is if
even
you,
that popular either.
No.
but you know also what I say to a lot of people, there's a lot of people that I speak to that want to buy things for investment and stuff. But everyone wants to buy what's popular. So like people say
Yeah.
to me a lot, they might say, well, I want to buy something for investment. What do you recommend? I say you should buy, how much you want to spend, how long do you want to keep it for? So once you get them few things out of the way,
Yeah, yeah.
so I go, well, okay, for that money, I recommend this, this or this. And they go, don't really like them. Well, okay, let's start again. Right? Forget investment, buy what you like. Because you just
Yes,
asked me what's
there
good
you
for
go.
investment. I'm
Yeah.
telling my opinion. And
Older models.
yeah, like older models,
Yeah.
vintage stuff and whatever
Yeah,
else.
yeah.
Because they made a lot less, they made the
Well, they can never
production,
make more.
was a fraction of what it is today. I think it's over 1 million watches
Yeah.
a year now.
Yeah, correct.
I've got no idea what it was, if I'm honest, but and that would have changed over the years. But
Yeah.
back in the 70s and 80s,
Might have
and
been
whatever,
10,000, 20,000.
a fraction
yeah,
of what
yeah.
it is today.
Yeah.
No one cared.
Yeah.
Right, you go and buy anything you wanted. You wanted to buy 4 Daytonas, help yourself, sir. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? There's no
Yeah.
problem.
Oh,
that's
I
it.
remember those,
Yeah.
those days, the good old days when you used to walk in and buy
Discount on the
something. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I remember, like
Yeah.
an AD would say to you, take a gold piece at 30% off,
Yeah.
yeah.
and I'll give you 3 sports models.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
that rose gold Daytona when they first came out, I was getting them for like 14.5 grand.
Yeah.
You know, an early one now, which is what 2008, 2009, is still a 33, 34 grand watch. You know, so if you paid 15 grand back then, 16 grand back then, you've still doubled up on your money and enjoyed it.
But this goes back to the thing before. Buy what you like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
wear it, enjoy
Correct.
it. Or
Yeah.
even better if you don't wear it, if
Yeah.
it's just your investment.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
but buy it, wear it, enjoy it. Don't care what it's worth. And in 30, 40 years' time, I remember a customer coming in the shop it probably would have been 20 years ago. He had a steel sub on, don't remember the model, but from the 50s.
Yeah.
And beautiful condition. And I said to him, do you mind if I look at the watch? So he said, yeah, of course. And he took it off. So he was in the shop buying, he was buying his wife a gold Rolex, and she bought him a gold Rolex, a day date,
Yeah.
but without him knowing this. So kind of they bought each other a
And you
watch,
talked him
right?
into part exchange in the store.
I said, does he want a new one for it? But he didn't want that, right? So we done that. But I said to him, I better know how much you give for it. He said, well, I bought it from off his friend. His friend bought it new but didn't like it.
Yeah.
So I said, you give £50 for it.
Oh, I was going to say 600.
He said, no, I'll give 45.
Oh, wow.
So he had all the box and papers, bits and pieces. I said, would you be interested in selling it? I said, the watch is percent. Bear in mind, this is 20 years ago or more, whatever it was. So it's worth a fraction of what it's worth today. So I said, it's worth quite a lot of money, the watch, especially in condition, with all the bits and pieces with it. So he said, I wouldn't sell it for any amount of money, because he clearly didn't need money.
Yeah.
He said, this has been all around the world and been in all sorts of adventures. He said, so I'd never sell it, because it's like part of me. But I said, well, if you ever decided to, or a long lost grandson to give it to, I'm your man. Right? But
Well, it's like that.
But what's that watch worth today? Like any kind
Oh.
of
Well, you saw the
complete
guy
from
that
the 50s.
went on Antiques Roadshow with it,
Yeah.
didn't he? And he
Yeah.
kind
Is
of.
that the Daytona, though?
It was a sub as well.
Was it a sub?
Yeah.
Sub, yeah. It was a sub, full set
Yeah.
sub. But it's like that Steve McQueen that you've got.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Original receipt.
£175. The guy put £25
149. It's £20
Oh, yeah,
deposit.
£20 deposit
And £129
Wow.
to pay
balance
balance
payment.
Yeah.
I think one day they'll be talking about Starbucks, 15 grand, 14,
But
well,
why
7.5 grand
Why
retail.
not?
But they'll be talking about all watches
Yeah.
in years to come.
What's I want to know want to know what's on Ricky's wrist right now. That's the watch that I want to.
So this is a Gerard Perregaux. Most people not really familiar with the brand, even watch people not really
No,
familiar.
true.
They've had quite a comeback, should we say. They've been going since 1791. So they've had a comeback, I would say, in recent times, but I think that's mainly because where there was everything so they're very good quality, but I think where everything was, if a 10 grand watch is selling for 30 grand and 40 grand watch is selling for 100 grand, then people start looking at other brands because they go, well, okay, maybe I can get this at a discount, or maybe I can get it at a list and whatever else. And so these are one of the few Swiss companies that actually make their own movements in-house, and they've done so for 200 years. So this actual one is a client stroke. I've sold him watches, but also kind of a friend's watch. But I bought today just to. So this is with the new green dial, but
It's beautiful.
it's
Really
yeah,
nice.
looks
very,
lovely.
but the quality of the dial I think is beautiful.
It's almost like a mix of a Nautilus and an AP.
AP, yeah.
But it
It's
actually
got-
came out.
yeah,
So this
yeah.
actual model was a Loretto, and it came out in 1975.
Is that
Yeah.
a Gerald Genta design?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So that's
which-
why
It's got,
Yeah,
it's
it's
got
got-
elements
it's
of
got-
it.
it's got his
that
unique.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's got
So I
that
believe it's a
uniqueness
Gerald
to it.
Genta, which also was the Nautilus
Yeah.
and the
Royal Oak.
offshoot, the
Yeah.
Royal Oak.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah.
correct.
And there's another one here that is that is like a rose gold version. It's got a crocodile strap
that's
also,
nice,
but
Looks
rose
lovely.
gold
Yeah,
with
that's
Yeah,
very
let's
nice.
have a look.
Yeah.
Oh, it's got a bit of weight to
I
it as
think
well.
blue
Just
blue
palette.
dial against the rose gold watch is
Yeah,
just a winner for
works,
me.
don't it?
Yeah.
See, that's nice on the rubber strap.
Oh, that
Is that
blue,
when they done
wow,
the,
in the
uh,
light.
Yeah, that's see what I mean.
When
It's
Patek
the-
done the
That's what-
59.90 and
59.90,
the
you
blue.
know.
the
Again,
retail
a
that's about
couple
30
of clients
about
have worn a
35
bath, you know,
grand.
made
That's
a bath
that's a
with
very
those,
good
but
price. It's
Such
not
a
got the
nice
They
open
weren't
case
tonight
back
at the time,
to
though,
it.
you
Yeah,
know.
such a nice
The
one.
way that
That's
they were
a
running away, they were gonna be
2022
half a
watch though,
million
so it's the
quid.
latest version.
Yeah, it's
so-
lovely.
but-
Basically, no one's ever like held a gun to someone and said, you've got to buy this.
Yeah, correct. No,
people
on,
who-
on pieces like that, people are ringing you and saying, "Can you get me
I want one, yeah.
And they only make 14,000 watches. I think it's 12,000 watches a year. So there's a lot of these brands now that like another brand I like is FP Journe.
I love it, Pigeon.
They make
Yeah.
They make some nice
Eight-
ones.
800 watches a year, roughly.
Yeah.
And there's only one agent in the UK, and they get 12 watches a year.
Unbelievable.
So you imagine trying to get one of
They
them
were-
from an AD.
they
Well,
were
about around
That's it.
Yeah.
2008 to 2010, they were trying to push them into the market.
Yeah.
Well, I remember,
Beautiful.
I can't remember, I was in America somewhere, where it was LA, Miami, somewhere like that. And there was an FP Journe boutique, and they're going in there, watches for sale. I remember thinking, oh, that's quite a cool watch. I think it was about 14 grand at the time. And I think the same watch now costs you 100.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And it was some titanium, complicated sort of sports watch. But I remember thinking at the time, it seems great quality, but is it one of them things that is kind of...
Is it a Frank Muller?
Yeah.
Of the
I remember
period,
thinking,
yeah.
is it like kind of one of them things that can die a death, and is it going to be worth 2 grand in... But then another thing I'd say is, goes back to, buy what you like
Yeah.
and don't care.
Yeah.
So now the 14 grand watch is 100 grand.
Well, my first watch that I bought because I liked it when no one really knew about them was an RM5. You know, I bought a Richard Mille RM5 Felipe Massa,
Nice.
and it was from a dealer in the Netherlands, a Dutch guy, a Dutch friend of mine, and he charged me 14.5 grand for it. Yeah, no one knew what it was. Yeah, and I was like, this thing isn't regulating
now
properly on my wrist. So
100x.
you know, I put it into someone who put it into the AD for me, and they charged me 3 grand to regulate it, and I was
Nice.
like, Jesus Christ, it owes me 17.5 grand now. Yeah, and I was like, but I actually really like it. It's small, I've got small wrists, blah blah blah. Wore it for a little while, wore it to Vegas. You know, as my day watching and at the
Yeah.
pool, like, didn't know what it was myself really at the time. And then someone says, oh, I really want one of them Richard Milles, blah blah blah. I said, oh, I've got one. 22.5 grand.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's do the deal. I'll have it. Thought I rung the bell, made 5 grand on this watch that no one really knows what it is. A few years later, so that was around 2011, 12. A few years later, I went to Vegas for the watch show, and I said, oh, do you know what? I saw one in the counter. I said, I fancy having a go at one of those again. And that was back then. He said to me, I said, oh, how much is that? I said, I'm interested in that. It goes $110,000. You know,
Fuck.
and then now, it's like,
That's that ground swallow me up.
yeah, it's like 180 now.
That's
It's like,
exactly the type
come
of
on.
thing I would do.
Yeah,
As
man.
soon as I sell
But
it,
you
it goes
didn't
up.
know. You didn't. We weren't to know at the time. RM11 rose gold. I was getting them for 40 grand. 200 grand watch.
I think the
220.
first RM I had was years ago. I'd give, it's a white gold RM5.
Yeah.
I think I'd give 13,750 and so
Yeah.
for 14,750
Yeah.
or 14,750, so 15,750. Whatever I earned a grand, but it was around 15 grand market cost. And I swapped so I bought it for myself, went up swapping, taking some old Rolex, a silver bar, a bit of money, owed me a bit. Like, it was kind of like one of them kind of messy.
One of the messy deals.
Yeah,
And he was busting my balls, like trying to get it cheaper. I was going, listen, it's cheap. Like,
Yeah.
all right, not many people know what they are, but
I bet he's happy now if he kept
he ain't got
it.
his now.
Oh, look at that. Well done, Johnny boy.
Yeah.
My first.
as well, though. I suppose.
Well,
Jack Daniels and apple juice.
Nah.
not for me.
Try everything once.
So my first deal with Ricky,
Yeah.
that must have been 2011 as well, that sort of time. He had a 5711 blue in his counter.
No, my own personal watch.
Oh,
It
it
was.
was, yeah, it was your own personal watch. And I had a client for one, and I said, can you sell that to me? And I was busting his balls to try and get a grand off of it. It was 16.5.
It's mad, isn't
And
it?
was like,
I didn't want to sell it.
Yeah.
I collect them, don't I?
Yeah.
I didn't want to sell it. And he's going, I'll sell it, you don't wear it. I'm going, yeah, but Pete, you ain't eating nothing, mate. He's going, oh, yeah, but come on, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, it's like 55 grand. 18 months later.
Yeah. Yeah.
My client must have known something.
I think I sold one just before it
Oh, you did?
discontinued.
I had the same with the 57mm. I bought one off a client. I think I paid him 12 and a half at the time. This is going back 8 or 9 years.
But back in them
I paid out
days,
for 14. No
you
one
could
would-
get
No
discounts
one
and
wanted
stuff
it.
back in
No one
the
wanted
day.
the
Yeah,
5711.
no.
It was a dead watch, really,
Yeah.
5711, because it was too small.
Yeah.
And the white one was even worse.
Yeah.
White
Yeah.
car 5711.
When you had a client
know.
that wanted that, you were happy to go into the market and find it, because I wouldn't want to stock it, but I'd absolutely sell it
You
all
were happy
day.
to ring your,
Oh, yeah.
your AD friends
Yeah.
and say, "Have you got
Yeah.
one in stock
Yeah.
that's been, sit at the
Yeah.
safe collecting dust? What discount are you going to do for me?"
I remember.
So no one apple juice with theirs. I'm saying
No, that'll be straight.
I'm the.
is that a thing even? Is apple juice even a thing? With that?
I-
I'm intrigued to see
You're
what
going to
it
get all the
says.
comments there, guys.
Yeah.
You guys have missed out.
Jack Daniels and apple juice.
Don't even like this, but we'll try it.
There you go.
Johnny boy,
Cheers.
you not having mine?
Yeah, I will now.
Cheers, boys. Cheers.
It's getting
Cheers.
involved.
Cheers, boys.
There you go.
Keeping it classy.
Yeah.
These real crystal, these stuff.
Plastic cups and whiskey.
Spoiling us.
Well, don't knock them. They're one-use plastic. They'll be worth some money in a few years to come.
You kind of done my job there, because I was going to ask you all like the question of, well, there's two questions. One, have you ever seen something and thought 6 months later or a year later, shit, I should have bought that? And
All of us
every
6 months
week.
ago.
but also your biggest sort of success in buying a watch that you've not really expected to hit a certain point, and you've looked again a year later and gone, Christ, I've done really well there, and sold it. So firstly, the second question really, have you ever bought something and it's really just taken off?
Yeah, I bought a few things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One for me that sticks in my mind was a Daytona Oysterflex once that I bought, and I think I bought it and sold it, made a grand or two on it, and then it came back to me, and I bought it and sold it again. And it came back to me. It's like one of them yo-yo watches
Yeah.
where you
Yeah.
keep earning out
Keep
of it,
making money,
and it
yeah.
keeps coming back. And then I think even in the peak, but it hadn't sold. When the watches were going up like £2,000-3,000 a month, I eventually sold it and made about £8,000, and it was like, wow, on an Oysterflex, like how do you make that kind of money? I mean, admittedly, again, that 20 years and 2 seconds thing, I did sit on it for a good few months, but I'd much rather have sold it earlier, but it just was one that was never selling.
Yeah, so like what most people would probably recognise now
Yeah.
is a green Daytona.
Yeah,
You
or the
know?
biggest yo-yo watch of all.
So I bought a green Daytona for a client who was actually buying it for his missus. Watch turned up at a discount, 23.5 grand. And no one really wanted the green back then. So I was like,
2017?
Couldn't give them away.
17.
17,
No, it was
17, 18?
18,
17, 18,
2018.
yeah.
And I've gone round to their house to deliver the watch, and she's gone, "Oh, I bloody hate it." And I was like, I've just given all this dough for this watch. Now. I don't even want it.
yeah.
I don't even want it. It hadn't grown on me yet. So I was like, no worries. What colour dial do you want? She goes, just a white or a black dial.
I know this story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, no problem. So, went and found the dial for like whatever it was, a grand, white dial, put the dial in it, put the dial away in the safe for years, trying to sell it for like 8 grand, 10, no one wanted to touch it. All of a sudden, the watch is like nearly 100 grand.
Yeah.
So now I've got the dial sitting there, which is where the value
Where the money is,
bought a watch at sensible money, dial's in there.
It's funny
I
how...
won't even and that really has earned me a huge profit.
Yeah.
But I won't sell that watch. I'd rather, give it to one of my kids.
Yeah.
For when they're old, it's a flat for them.
Well, I think one that I
Oh, yeah.
sold green Daytona, brand new, for 35 grand to a mate of mine, and he was, it's a bit strong in it, and I was going, what do you mean it's a bit strong? I don't know what list was at the time, probably about
23, 24?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The list
Right, so I think
at the time was under 20
so
when they first come out.
so this was 2019.
You-
so
Yeah.
what had been like
About
kind of-
26, 25.
26,350.
Yeah.
Yeah.
26,350.
So I think it was either 33 or 35 I sold it for. So bear in mind, I'd give a profit to the fellow who'd got it and whatever else. But he was moaning and it's a lot of money for that. And I was going, it's just a going rate. It's like just under the going rate, right? It's cheap. I called him not that long after. I'm going to say not long. It might have been 18 months after.
When it was 50 grand.
Yeah.
Do you want 55 for it? Or not really? I think it's worth a bit more.
Yeah,
You ain't crying now, right?
Yeah.
No, and you did that on purpose, yeah.
Depends what way around they want to do it.
55. I said, oh, you don't want
It's
20
funny.
grand profit off your old mate.
Yeah.
It's
right?
funny because non-watch lovers,
Yeah.
I don't think they appreciate or understand the value of a watch is in the dial.
Yeah.
And that's really where your money is. That, you know, in the gold piece, like a yellow gold Daytona with a white dial is the same price as a yellow gold Daytona with the green dial.
Same as an olive. It's the
But
same as,
yeah.
you know. But Rolex, anything green.
Yeah.
Dial
It's quite
is
weird
kind
that
of-
anything green is
yeah.
a thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
But
It is, yeah.
Green traditionally is not a nice colour,
No,
is
but
it?
to be honest with you,
That's
it
what
was
turned you on to
only-
the Loretto, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. The
But it was
dial.
only
It's
I don't
since John
traditionally I
Mayer-
don't like green.
Yeah.
It was only
It's
since
the
John Mayer
the
said
John Mayer
about the
explosion.
green Daytona, then actually everyone said, "Oh, it's got to be green," and then
Yeah.
Rolex jumped onto it.
Johnny, I win
Um,
that bet, by the way. I did say John Mayer will get mentioned today. I knew Green Daytona. I knew it'd steer around to Green Daytona and John Mayer somehow. I knew it.
He's got some collection though, hasn't he?
He has. Absolutely
Have you seen that
unbelievable.
video, that Hodinkee one? That's
See, I don't watch much on YouTube,
it
but I
was-
watch stuff like that.
Yeah.
And yeah.
It was
Some of them
that- it was that
Daytonas,
video.
rare Daytonas,
Yeah.
he's got, and that's
Yeah, and
fantastic.
so's,
It's but it's a
what's
great
the actor?
collection. Like it's a nice
Mark
collection
Wahlberg.
to
Yeah.
see.
Mark Wahlberg.
He's got a
Yeah.
serious
Yeah.
collection.
My
Well, he's
friend looks
got-
after Mark Wahlberg when he's in London.
No way.
Well, he's got
like-
everything you can think of.
Yeah,
hasn't he?
and but doubles and triples.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
so he
wow.
hasn't just got one. He might have 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. You know,
Wow.
rainbows. He's got several.
Unbelievable.
You
So is
know.
Kevin Hart. He's got a
Yeah.
very
Yeah,
good
he's got a
collection.
good
as
collection
well.
of watches,
Yeah,
yeah.
very good.
Yeah.
I like their collections. Whereas
But don't
you know,
forget
you've got
as well-
Mayweather's collection. It's
Yeah.
like, oh come
Yeah,
on,
it's
give
all like
it
Christmas tree.
That's
isn't it?
ridiculous.
Yeah,
isn't
it's
it?
all like that Christmas trees, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's vulgar.
That's like
Look at
piece,
this beacon
piece,
I've got on my
yeah.
wrist.
Yeah.
Well, the thing
piece
is, all the
unique.
watches-
That's
all the
what he can
watches-
say. That everything's piece unique.
Wahlberg and
Yeah.
Kevin Hart and all that. There's all, if they want, not they need the money, but there's big profits in their stuff.
Oh,
isn't
yeah.
there?
But I don't think they
And they're all
sell. I
straight from
don't.
the AD as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're all straight from ADs, but I don't think they sell them.
No.
No,
No,
they
they-
don't need to, do they?
He
Well,
won't sell.
I
No,
suppose.
them people
I
I
know,
think
I know
now-
Mark Wahlberg, you know, won't
Yeah.
sell because of what my friend told
what,
me.
but what would they sell for?
Yeah.
They don't need to.
They
Yeah.
don't, no.
Besides, if I had a collection like that, I mean, I've got a good collection, but a collection like that, I wouldn't want to sell. I never want to sell any of my own collection.
No.
We all probably feel the same way.
Yeah.
From a
Yeah.
trade perspective, I'll sell anything. But when it's in my own collection, I kind of like have that. I'm like a flipper. I want the most money I'd ever get for
And
it
also that
because
as well, like,
I don't think
get
it'll.
remorse. If
Yeah.
something, you know, it's
Yeah.
like, I didn't even need to sell it. Why did I sell it for?
Yeah, it's funny.
I
that,
think that's
isn't
the worst thing when you really regret selling
Yeah.
something and
Yeah.
and you can't replace it unless you can replace it with a better version or something. Or,
I've got to be honest. I don't think I've. I'm trying to think. Have I sold anything out of my own collection? And I don't think I have. I mean, so I don't think I've got the opportunity to have remorse. And even if I did, I think back to some of the things that I've got in there. Like for example, I've got flat floor Kermits and stuff like that. That truthfully, I probably paid like 6, 7, 8 grand for.
Yeah.
I don't know the value today. Probably 20, 25, 30.
Yeah.
I don't look at the value because it's
Yeah.
not something I want to sell.
Yeah.
But I do think to myself at times. Now that I've got kids, that's what that's what
Also in
that's what you're
time-
doing this for, you know.
that 20 odd grand will be 50 grand.
Yeah, because it's just going up in natural value.
It's
Yeah,
not,
yeah,
They're not making any more.
No.
And if they do make any more, it makes no difference.
Yeah.
But it's still not the original one.
yeah.
So it don't.
And it's not like I wear them; they're not getting any
Yeah.
more use.
It's like my
Yeah.
16520, you know, my Daytona white dial
Yeah.
APH.
Beautiful
last of, I must have had over the years 50 of them, and every time I wear one, I say I'm not selling it. And actually, the last one I bought was off of a collector who bought a his and hers. So he bought the bimetal for his missus, and I bought the pair off of them, and they didn't even wear them. And I put it on my wrist, and I said, I
Not
am not
selling
selling
it,
this
no.
one. You know, and I've kept it since, and it's the last of, and I've not polished it. I'm not gonna polish it. It's just kind of gonna stay original to its original state. So in years to come, when it does get passed on, it's a genuine,
Yeah,
unpolished.
great example.
Yeah, great example of it. How collectors want them,
See,
blemishes and all.
I don't know if it's just me. I don't get enough customers who are collectors because I don't hear stories like that from customers enough. You know, I think a lot of the customers, for me
No, but I
anyway,
think you have to find. I think what happens is you've probably never had them because you've never
looked for them, never gone out
looked
to
for
market
them or
that
sold
way.
in that way.
Yeah, I sell a lot of new modern.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
the thing is, well,
yeah.
like, it depends who your customer is.
Yeah.
So if your customer's younger,
Yeah,
they don't care less.
they're not thinking about the
20,
future.
30 years. They're not thinking. They're talking about like
Yeah.
2-3 weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, like back in the day, we sold watches that people going, "I'm going to IB for tomorrow."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
Yeah.
if I buy it today, how much do you give back for in 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was,
Yeah.
that
No.
was, that
Do you know what I
was
mean? It's
the
like
essence
that-
thing. It was
that
was
you
a
know,
different
gold-
mentality.
Depends how
gold
much you
drop
smash it up,
master.
mate.
Yeah.
It had to be a gold drop master.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah,
running
no.
thing that people saying, I'm going IB for tomorrow on a watch. Why? Like, there's no way on this planet
Because
I
I
would wear
suppose-
any watch in IB.
it was
It's
the
all
champagne
for the
spray.
all for the shower, no
Yeah.
doubt.
Time,
Even,
basically.
even now,
you-
though,
you're
like, even
bracing
last
some
summer, I
sticky
remember
on the
people saying it, and
Yeah.
I just think there's no chance I would be going to IB for all places where
Yeah.
there's
Not
literally
now.
no
But they used to
Yeah.
go to Marbella for it was the champagne spray when it
Yeah.
was like
Yeah.
a bank holiday weekend.
The white parties,
you know, and all that, and everyone used to have,
Been
you
to
know,
Yeah.
it was who had the biggest table, the most bottles of champagne, and
Yeah.
whose fellas had
I've
the
heard they're
most
good.
gold watches. You
Yeah.
know, that's what it was. And before you knew it, they'd done all their money on champagne and coming back selling you the watch at 3-4 grand less than
Yeah.
they bought it for.
good business.
And you think how
model.
much money
Yeah.
he spent that weekend as well.
That's what I'm saying. You know,
On
they
top of the
spent all their
losses
dough on the
taken.
champagne and all that stuff. You know, but they were having a great time.
Yeah.
They were having a great time.
Sometimes memories is more important than money.
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
So-
And I think with us as well, like going on to what the values of these watches are, I think we're all desensitized to what they actually are because we see them every day.
Oh, yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like you'll get someone come in the shop that's coming to pick up an engagement ring and they see the counter full of watches and they're like, oh wow, like a Rolex, and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
I had it this morning
You
with an
know.
£8.5 grand watch, and the
Yeah.
guy's like, "It probably means nothing to you." And in my head, I was thinking, "It's weird that it does mean nothing to me. Like that's demoralising. Like
But I suppose
wrong word,
it's
but
whatever you're. If you
it's just you get used to bigger
if you sold-
values.
yeah.
Yeah,
If you sold high-end houses, you sold high-end
Yeah.
cars.
No, that's what,
Yeah.
that's what I mean.
You're
Because
not saying
you're
wow, everything you
used
see,
to
unless
it.
it really has got to be wow for
Yeah.
you to go, wow, that's
Yeah, of course.
yeah.
something special.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
I always say to like new clients as well, because new clients are always in our own first purchase, and regardless of the value of the watch, it's important for them, and it's a lot of money
To them, yes,
And
I
I have
agree.
to
They've
almost
got the
remind
experience
myself,
as
Yeah.
well.
don't be desensitized.
No,
No,
no.
this guy's
Yeah.
spending,
Yeah,
whether it's a couple of grand or 20.
I agree.
It's a shitload of money.
You've
for
got to give that person
you know what I mean?
that's spending £2 the same experience as someone that's spending
Yeah.
200 grand.
So important.
You know, it's the same thing.
That's what I like
because
about
that
watches.
200 that £2 purchase, that person might crack it over the years,
And turn
and
into
you're
a
Yeah.
and you're
Yeah.
his man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you know what,
Yeah.
I bought my first watch from him, and he made me feel like $1 million walking out
Yeah.
of there with that watch.
Yeah.
definitely.
You know?
There's nothing better than selling a watch to someone who has that smile on their face,
Yeah,
that has that
absolutely.
beam. That's what we do it for. And it's funny as well because I had a client in the boutique the other day, and I actually said to him when they got it on camera, I said to the guy, "I wouldn't want to sell you the watch." Now the reason why I said I don't want to sell you the watch is because he had it on his wrist and he just couldn't smile. Like I could tell he wasn't enjoying it.
Yeah.
And I said to him, I've never sold a watch to someone that wasn't beaming, that wasn't eager to put it on the wrist, and he wasn't. He just it was nice to flex. He never had a rubber watch on his wrist before, and he said to me, "I'm gonna go and have a coffee and think about it." I said, "Forget it. If you need to think about it, it's not for
Yeah,
you.
it's not for you.
I've never sold a watch that someone needs to think about whether or not to
He
purchase
almost
it.
got buyer's remorse. But
Yeah,
But you know what
before-
it is as well,
before he's
though?
even
Yeah.
paid for it.
I
Yeah.
think that's
Yeah.
when people buying what their friends got, not buying what they like.
Correct.
Yes,
Yeah.
because his son was trying to push him into it.
Yeah.
And I felt like saying you're not going to push your dad into it anyway, but you don't push him into something that I could just tell it didn't
Yeah.
feel right to him.
Yeah.
It was no point. We talked about other watches that he had in his collection, and he had like big APs and stuff like that. And you go into a rubber Oyster Flex watch was never going to work.
Well, it's much smaller.
And
it's
it's
totally
lighter. It just
Yeah.
didn't. Yeah, it didn't.
Going back to AP, I think they've missed the trick a little bit recently. Where
In
they
what way?
brought too many models out. You
Yeah.
know, in,
Yeah.
in such a short
Yeah.
period of time.
Yeah, the
You know, it's got
anniversary
44,
models.
43, anniversary this, blue
Yeah,
dot that,
too many
5500,
sizes, too many
5400.
options.
Yeah, the music
You
watch.
know,
yeah.
Well, the music watch is an odd watch.
Yeah.
I mean, that was just
But too much came
Weird.
out too
Yeah.
quickly
Yeah.
from the brand itself.
Limited
it was
as
almost
well.
like they're trying to catch
Yeah.
up.
yeah.
They are growing on me though.
It's just a
APs.
bit of
No,
a weird
they're,
one.
they're a
though.
great watch.
said it a lot.
I think they're doing some
are,
good
you
things.
know,
Well, they're part of that Holy Three, aren't they?
yeah,
Like the-
correct. You know, but you know, you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
in recent times, and I think that's had an impact
Yeah.
on their prices as well.
I do
That,
weirdly
like,
well with
exclusivity.
APs. I
No, I
don't
do.
know.
I'm not
I
saying I
don't.
don't do well with APs.
Yeah.
I'm just
No, I know,
saying
I know, I
think
know what Pete's saying. It's
Yeah.
almost like
Yeah.
a bit of a
It's almost like-
misdirection.
It's almost like a Breitling syndrome where you
Can't-
didn't.
yeah,
Yeah, there was
yeah.
like that.
Too many models.
Yeah, and they
Yeah.
wanted to keep up with everybody,
Yeah.
so they've saturated the
Rather-
market
yeah.
to try it.
Rather
and-
than being their own.
I think they've brought too many
value.
sizes out. I think that's
Yeah.
unnecessary. You don't need a
Yeah.
37, a 38, a 39,
No,
a
for
41.
a 41 and a
Yeah.
43, and then a 40.
Yeah.
You know,
The AP
Over-
41 mil.
They've not
This
kept
is-
it
this-
simple.
But that doesn't feel like a 41 mil.
it feels bigger.
It feels
for me.
bigger, yeah. And if you think about a date just 41, that feels like a much bigger case, much bigger dial.
But I think the Grail watch for me
Yeah.
was the one that I showed you, the rose gold skeleton annual, the perpetual calendar, the one that I had 39 mil.
But see, that for me is perfect.
That's a great
Perfect
watch.
size,
You know
perfect
what?
watch.
On the wrist, it looked perfect. It was the
think I'd go for
complication
steel.
of the movement.
Yeah.
Would
You
the
go for rose,
I'd go for rose.
steel, yeah,
I'd
I
go
think
for rose,
so,
100%.
Yeah.
But like this watch, yeah, it's the same size as a Datejust 41, yeah, but it just doesn't sit on the wrist the same way because of the case.
Better or worse?
Yeah, I think for a small wrist, worse.
Yeah.
You know, you could a girl couldn't wear
I
that.
suppose the shape
whereas
of
a
the
girl
watch
could
makes a
wear
difference, don't
Yeah.
it?
It makes a huge difference.
the
Yeah.
case.
It's the
shape
end
of the
Yeah,
watch.
shape,
end
yeah,
links
of
on that
course.
stick
Yeah,
out
that's
too
right.
much, so then
It will step off the wrist.
yeah.
Have you seen the Vacheron in comparison size-wise to the AP?
Well, like the overseas.
Yeah, the overseas. Much
We had a rose gold one recently.
with the blue dial.
Nice that.
Yeah, really
Brilliant
nice
watch.
Yeah.
Really good watch, yeah.
Very eye-catching, the Vacherons out
Yeah.
there.
But look at those side by
That
side.
is probably
Never
one
same
brand
size.
Vacheron that I would
Well,
say
no,
in the
that's
next
smaller.
2 to 3
That's a
years
bit smaller,
will
but
be
the
another
actual
ones.
case itself, I
Nice.
think, is just a nicer shape.
It's because it's chunky, isn't it?
Yeah.
More squared.
You know,
It's
But
got
there's
a
a
bit of quality. for
but
it.
there's that's double the price of the Patek. So
double. No, of course, yeah. But still, you know what? I think.
But it's interesting though because
From-
the design of the Royal Oak was Gerald Genta,
yeah.
and obviously,
This does look bigger than 41.
I mean, I know it's not a
Looks
Nordic
much
show
bigger.
in there, Pete.
I think it looks bigger than 41.
Looks much.
That's what we were saying. It
Yeah.
There's a
does
silver,
definitely looks
I don't know if
bigger
it's a
than
silver dial maybe makes it look bigger. 'Cause
And the case
Yeah.
itself, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's the case.
Although it's
for it.
nice and the silver dial,
How
I
big is
quite
that
like.
on your wrist, Ricky?
42.
42.
This looks bigger.
And that looks bigger. The AP looks
The AP
bigger,
looks
definitely.
Yeah.
yeah, much bigger.
Yeah.
You know, 'cause
That's what I was saying to you,
the
straight,
depth's not
you
there
know.
on that one. It's a lot more slimline.
This is
I think the bracelet becomes.
the
yeah.
case goes out wide on that,
Yeah.
don't it?
Yeah, so
And
the
there,
bracelet starts to curve
It's
a lot
thicker
earlier.
as well. I mean, it's just a thicker
I just like the
cane.
design.
So
of
this
the
is probably
80s
for this
bracelet.
is fits the smaller wrist
Yeah,
better.
very
Yeah.
iconic.
Yeah.
That style. Yeah.
That's why I
I
like
don't know,
this.
just something about
The
it really, really stands out.
Aquanaut,
There's not really another
5164
bracelet like it.
because
No.
So-
it's still quite
They
a
scratch
big
so easy,
looking
don't
they?
dial,
It's
but the
horrible.
case isn't huge.
Bit comfortable watch,
Yeah,
lovely
it's
watch.
such a
Yeah.
comfortable
The
watch.
owl we had
Such
the
a
other
comfortable
day,
watch.
still one of my favourites.
So the owls are 39mm,
It was an older watch, was it 2012 that one?
2012.
Got a blue dial chrono, a blue dial Kasparov one.
You've got a blue dial,
AP chrono 39mm.
nice.
And I've
That
got,
to sell. Not
Is
to-
that
yeah, and I've got the 15500 in blue of
So it's
that.
39mm
Yeah,
blue dial
with the
chrono.
2 chronographs, not the
No.
3?
the 39mm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
full blue dial.
Yeah.
Yeah, full blue.
Discontinued now, so they
Discontinued.
moved to the
2008 maybe, I think it
Yeah.
is.
To
the
2000.
silver
Great
chrono.
watch that.
Yeah.
Great watch. No silver chronos.
No, it moved to the silver
Yeah,
chronos after
yeah.
it was discontinued.
When it went to 41
Yeah,
mil.
yeah,
when
yeah.
it went to the silver chronos. And then it went full blue again for the anniversary.
Yes,
Yeah.
I've sold 2 of them.
Have you?
Apparently they've only had
Still?
7. Yeah, apparently they've had 7 in London, and I've had 2
Not a
of
lot of
them.
watches, is it?
It's
not a lot.
it's
Not
not
a
a
lot,
lot
is
of
it?
watches.
For London.
Not a lot at
That's
all.
why,
Oh,
that's
so I've
why the
sold.
numbers shouldn't be
Dropping.
dropping
yeah.
because the demand is still high.
Well, they're still fetching way over retail.
Of course, but
So I've sold 2
Compared
of
to
them,
where
and the
the-
guy I just
yeah.
the guy I was with this morning has got the 3rd one.
Uh,
So hopefully I'll get that one to sell as well shortly when he's bored. But
Talking
Right
of green
now.
dials, what do you think of that?
I saw it on your wrist before. No, on
Is it
your
the black one I got?
yeah. It's not my type of watch, but it's a lovely watch, and I'm going to guess under 5k,
A little bit over.
a little bit over.
Portuguese.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The green dial one, that's a new one, isn't it? New
That's the new
version.
Yeah, new model out that one. It's got the open back.
with the open case back.
Yeah.
I think that's such a great watch as well. Though
Yeah.
I've always liked
I've
IWC.
loved them since day one. Those
To give me a
But
little.
I've liked Jaeger LeCoultre as well.
great brand.
You know, reversos, you know, and stuff like that.
Should be wider recognised.
Much
brands like
wider
Jaeger.
recognised. And
And
I
it
had
will- and it will
the
be, won't
Valentino
it?
Rossi
You know?
as well
Yeah,
with the 46 on the
yeah,
dial.
I remember that. Yeah,
Yeah, great watch.
46.
To give me a little.
It's a master compressor,
Reminds me of the Patek a bit. A little bit.
Yeah.
Calatrava
Originally
style.
started life as a pocket watch.
Did it?
Yeah.
You can. Well, it's kind of very rounded.
Yeah,
Isn't it?
yeah, very much so that design. And then it was a couple of like exporters from Portugal that asked the founder of IWC make us this into a wristwatch, and
No way.
that was when the Portuguese was born.
Nice.
Such a great watch.
So
I found out.
how much are you selling that for at the moment?
That's brand new, that, and on the retail.
I can see.
Um,
Oh, is it?
retails
Yeah.
at 76, got it up for 66.
And
Great
Randolph.
watch.
is it the same as the
Great
blue?
watch.
No, so this is the black. So that's the new 3716 reference, which has got the open case back, and this is the old 3714 reference, which has got the closed case back, and came on the
And I like how they put the strap on it's the correct way, where the long piece goes up your wrist,
Correct.
not down.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, the green's nicer.
Yeah, I think so.
Very nice watch. That.
Yeah.
What little Omega Speedy 38.
Do you know what? These
Grown on you?
not necessarily, but do you know what? One of the first watches I sold was an Omega, and it was to a gentleman at the London Watch Show.
Oh, nice.
And he was with his, I said it was his missus, and she went mad. Or he went mad and was like, no, it's not my missus, not my missus.
It's my girlfriend.
The mistress.
Do you know what? I can't remember what Omega it was, but he was buying it specifically for the usage of it. And a couple of people I've come across have always bought Omegas for the specific use of the watch.
Which is rare, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you get
Yeah.
few people buy Breitlings because they're pilots.
Yes.
and
Yeah.
things,
Right.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
like very rare for anyone to buy. Like anyone buys a chrono, no one uses it, do they?
No.
They just like the
No.
look of a chrono.
This
don't
actually looks like a 38mm though.
Yeah.
Is it not?
It's 30. No, it is. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
38mm, but
yeah. I
it's
thought it was. Yeah.
It's quite rare that you actually
Yeah,
see a
yeah.
watch and it actually
Yeah.
looks like
Feels
the
the
size.
size,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was nice though, because that guy was buying that watch. He'd wanted one for years.
Yeah.
And
That's
he-
interesting that
and he
they've
just
done that.
bought
It's
it.
a 38mm chrono.
I think they got it spot on with that.
See, I
What they've
had
done is
one
they've
in
reduced
stock
the size
and
of
it
the
didn't
bezel.
go
Yeah.
for a while.
It's like it's almost like a painted line.
Yeah.
Opposed to
Yeah, it's
like
very
a,
thinned out
yeah.
bezel now.
Yeah.
It's a nice watch.
It is a
quite
nice
like
I
it.
do think the sizes of watches have reduced a bit.
Yeah.
They have, and people
Yeah.
are wearing smaller watches.
Yeah.
I think more so now where you had like some of the big offshores and things like that.
Well, that's what AP have done well, I think.
People
When
have
people,
There you
come
go,
down a bit,
like
haven't they?
Yeah.
Platinum
Yeah.
Barrichello.
Yeah.
You know.
Which is
Remember
what,
our tons, don't they?
44 mil.
There's no mistake.
and
in
it's
that for being
platinum, so
is there?
that's a weight on your
Yeah.
wrist.
Let me
that.
tell you something.
Jesus.
That was of
Have
the,
a feel of that.
That was of like the.
Did you
like
wear that in
the
Monaco?
Montoya,
Did you-
the Barry's, the.
We went to Dubai together.
Dubai, yeah, that
Yeah.
was it. Yeah.
It's a
It was also like the birth of the deep sea around
Yeah.
that
Yes,
time,
correct.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
give or take.
I've
So
seen
you
this
had
watch.
the
It's heavy, isn't it?
Montoya and the
Do you like it?
Barrichello
That's
as
what
the main two.
Yeah.
What
limited
they make of them? Is it
watches.
like
They done
100,
the T3,
150?
the
I think
T3.
that's 150 in platinum,
Yeah.
It's just too
They did
heavy.
500 in rose.
500 in
Yeah.
rose, and 1,000 in
It's the
titanium.
case, isn't it? It's not even the dial.
And we had
It's
the
so heavy on your
DAP
wrist.
T3 as well. That
The
was around
T3,
that. That was
yeah,
around that.
48mm.
That's it.
The
That's
T3.
titanium, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's got
titanium.
that
Yeah, so big
feel
watch.
And the
Like
Chateau
Shack,
Mil,
yeah.
yeah, that was
Blue and
48mm.
white.
The end of days was cool.
That's it.
Yeah, because it was black,
And
and
then
you had all the DVD.
That's
You-
it.
So the T3
The
had
T3
all the
had all the
DVDs,
DVDs, yeah.
and then
Lifting a
on
weight.
the end of
Yeah.
days you had the tape, you had the cassette VHS.
That's it.
In the
What was,
box.
oh, Survivor I quite liked.
Survivor,
Yeah,
yeah, with the holes in the
42 mil.
case.
I sold one of
Yeah.
them recently. Yeah, yeah,
I
lovely
had one
watch.
of them a few years ago.
Really good watch,
And I bought
massive
it.
watch.
Legacy, the
I
legacy,
bought, I was,
and
I
the
bought it on
Arnold
the phone.
All-Stars.
Someone sent me a
That's it, the
picture.
All-Stars,
Yeah, with the
I think the
signature on the back.
I mean, I'll go on,
I
I
think the
like
legacy
that.
was the
Yeah.
last of like
And-
the big.
To get the big box and everything with it.
Started bringing them back in.
Well, because then you had
what's
the
it coming?
LeBron James as well.
That's it. Yeah.
But yes, it's got like the
we had
the
a
pull-out
LeBron
things,
James
but
with it.
everything about it's different. It's got
One
like
and
fluted.
600.
Yeah, yeah.
ceramic.
Yeah,
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 so
nice. With
the
the
carbon
carbon
ceramic.
ceramic.
Yeah,
Can
yeah.
I ask you this?
Yeah.
Why has
Yeah.
one of them
I
got
wore it for a little
diamonds
while,
on
but I
it?
quite liked it.
Too big for me.
Or was his just
Huge.
like he didn't
What's
replace
that?
The
No,
Survivor.
no, the LeBron should
Yeah,
have
it's a
diamond
very, it
push-up.
was
Monster
a very
of a watch.
Diamond push-up.
Like,
Yeah,
you had to
one-
get Bear Grylls
yeah, one
characters.
diamond
The client I sold it to was a Bear Grylls character, yeah, and he'd wanted it for years and years and years, and he was like, I didn't know you could get me one. I was like, yeah, I can get you one.
I like
And I
that.
asked him, yeah, I got him in with the big box and everything, and he was made up with it, yeah, really good
Remember I
watch.
sold you a
nice, yeah.
T3?
I do like the
Couple of years back now.
Like the colours of that. I like
Yeah.
the blue and the white.
Vaguely.
Yeah. It was a full set, had all the DVDs, everything with it. I think.
Might have
T3,
been
yeah.
off you. That might have been off you. Maybe
The teeth.
it could have been off you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might have been it. Yeah. Isn't
Because
that
everyone
weird?
used to say to you,
T3.
with
Was it with the full set with the big box
Yeah,
and
the big
everything?
box
That might have been.
box,
Yeah, yeah.
and with the T3, has it got the DVD?
I remember
My
that.
mate
Yeah,
bringing one
yeah.
of them back
So in the
from
side street of
bringing the box
St.
back
Cross Street, I
from
think it was.
Spain
I
or
was like, here you go,
somewhere.
mate.
I
So
could-
very
yeah.
much limited edition box.
I'm trying to think of the
Yeah.
price. Was it about 18,
And the
17,
customs, they wanted to
18?
cut it
I
up.
can't
Yeah,
remember.
yeah,
Yeah, I
about
think
that,
it
yeah.
was.
Give or take.
Hey,
And when you
Yeah,
can't do it,
very
it's just
good
a
mint
box.
condition.
Yeah.
Yeah, proper.
Please don't-
See,
yeah.
that's
Please
the older
don't
watches
chop it
when they're
up.
like set like that,
Yeah.
it's just
X-ray
unreal.
it,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, so
It's almost
when
like
it's
find
like
me
blue
another
holes
one.
in it and stuff. I went, oh,
Yeah.
please don't do that.
Yeah, I could be quite partial to that.
That's a good looking watch.
It's a great looking watch,
And it's
I
the
think-
weight of
I
it.
feel
It's just ridiculous.
but I just feel as though that would be just like
The
on
more
you,
you look at that,
you
the
know.
better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great watch, great watch.
You've got to be a strong swimmer if you go boarding it.
Well, we went,
Lopsided.
we went to Dubai and I was holding on to the buoy like that.
Yeah, you would sink.
That's cracking.
What watches did you ring me?
I just got bored. Some boring date just. Yeah, just some boring date just.
Two.
Johnny's like, get them out.
It's like bread and butter type stuff, I think. Rhodium.
It's what's selling now, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bread and butter. Got silver. We've got everything in stock, haven't we? Silver, blue, black, grey. It's got a 36mm black diamond, that one.
That's nice.
Yeah, just not my type of watch.
Actually, you don't see too many 36 black diamond dies.
Is that concealed
What's our
clasp as
showroom?
well?
Yeah.
Loads of 36s for some reason at the moment. Don't
Is
ask
that,
me
is
why.
that concealed clasp as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need a steel and rose with the rose
I've noticed
diamond
these
dial,
watches
Diamond
like
dial.
the Jubilee dial.
I've got one.
Yeah, there you go.
But the bracelet's a little bit loose, I think, on the one I got. I'll have to check. But
It's for a girl, so if
I've
you
got
take
one.
links out of it,
Yeah,
tighten it up.
I've got one though. I'm sure I've got one.
Yeah, brilliant. Excellent, there you go. I'll call
Hard
you
to
tomorrow.
find,
I know.
Especially in London.
But in this,
unless you're here.
but in this market, nothing's really selling, so...
Good comeback.
This one's got great sentimental value. This one. Not sure I'm part of it.
This is objection handling at its finest, man.
I was putting it in my museum, but I don't know. I might let it come out.
See, if you'd done finance, I would have bought it.
We do, but it's a 50%. Yeah.
Is there anything you wouldn't buy at the minute? Anything if someone came in, there's just certain pieces you'd just be like, it's not worth my time.
I don't think you can say you wouldn't buy it. It's all priced.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, everything's.
Listen, I'd
priced
buy
accordingly.
anything if the price is
Well,
correct.
saying that,
When I say anything, you know, in terms of the pieces that I buy.
Yeah.
someone offered me the other
you know.
day an old Sky Dweller 326135, I think.
Yeah, on the leather.
Yeah, on a leather.
Yeah.
I just couldn't give him a price on it. You know, like, what am I going to kick you to, like 18, 17 grand? And even then, even if he says, yeah, I'm probably not even going to shift it even at 19, 20. It's, you know,
I think that's what it is now.
But
I
it
think
was always a 19, 20 grand watch.
Y-
though,
yeah,
even
yeah.
when they were peaking.
Yeah.
but what I'm saying is you don't mind to earn a grand or two, you pretty much buy anything.
Of course,
but
correct.
now in the market, it's kind of like,
You have to
yeah,
buy for 15 grand to have a chance of getting out.
yeah, exactly. And even then, you think might not even sell it. So
I think what you're seeing now is like what cheap days did.
being a bit
tomorrow.
more fussy, aren't we? Yeah,
So,
yeah.
But I think what it is that kind of, if I'm honest, when I'm being offered things, unless I think, can I sell it
Quick.
tomorrow
Yeah,
Yes.
and
I
get
don't
paid
want
for
it.
it,
Yes,
Yeah.
correct.
and make money?
yeah.
No, I don't want it.
Do you do consignment? Because we've started doing consignment pieces,
Yeah.
and for some people it doesn't work because they want paying today. But for those that are not in a
Yeah, we
rush
do.
and
Yeah.
want to get a little bit better return,
Yeah.
consignment
No, we do that.
works.
We do
yeah,
that.
You know,
yeah.
because
Quite
at the end
often.
of the day, you're giving them a bigger window to sell their stuff.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, that's it.
Yeah,
And,
it's
yeah.
not
So what we
costing
normally
you-
do is we say we'll give, let's make it up, we'll give 25 grand,
Mm.
or we'll take it sale of return for 25,750 or 26, depending on what it is, and leave it for a week, leave it for a month, leave
Yeah.
it as long as you want to leave it.
Yeah.
If you want to pick it up, it's here.
Yeah.
And
correct.
that way, we also say, but if you call us and say,
I just want the cash. I want 25 grand.
I'll take the 25, then we'll
Yeah, that's
buy
what
it.
that's what
Yeah,
we've
yeah.
been
So
doing.
So it just
Yeah.
gives it gives
Yeah.
them every option
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
get a bit more money.
Yeah.
And then when they go, oh, sorry, still got it, mate. Right? And you go, well, look, now you see why I would have had my money tied up this long, and I still ain't sold it.
I think the other thing as well, a couple of people I've taken consignment pieces off recently who've had pieces with other jewellers in consignment. They've been unrealistic about the price. There's no point in you taking a watch and promising him 30 grand when it's just never going to achieve that.
I think the thing is,
And
as
also,
well,
they've got to be able to trust you that you're going to pay them as well. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
yeah,
have
yeah.
experiences of seeing.
I think
people
it's also-
that take stuff from consignment don't pay people. So you
Well,
know,
I think it's more the trust of the
Not naming
consignment.
any names.
It's more the trust that the watch is safe. And
Yeah.
that it's safe in your business.
they're
If you
comfortable,
if you were
yeah,
to
of
go
course,
bust tomorrow
yeah.
or close down or God forbid die tomorrow,
most of the time
is the
for you
watch going to be
for you to get
returned?
something on consignment means that someone has recommended you.
Yes.
and told,
Yeah.
You know, they've
Yeah.
seen you, they trust you, they've
Yeah.
dealt with
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
And actually, they feel no problem
Yeah.
at all. They sleep at night, whether it's in their house or in your safe.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so
I've had,
is
I mean,
opinion,
thankfully,
yeah.
just
Huge
like
thing.
from trust being the
thing
biggest
in our
word in
face,
our thing.
yeah.
Yeah, the
But
negative.
I've had clients refer a friend who wants to sell a piece that isn't really for me to stock, but I'm happy to get involved.
Yeah,
It's a 100 grand watch,
yeah.
and he's just happy to go. Book, there you go. You've been
Yeah.
trusted.
But if
to
it's
me.
not on consignment, then you're a broker, and that's
Yeah.
and I don't mind being a broker. Being broker's fine, but the problem you've got is when you put your name to something to another trader, for example.
Yeah.
And then if that customer, for whatever reason and circumstances do change, let you down, you just left with
Yeah,
egg
but
on
yeah.
your left with egg on your
You
face,
can't
aren't
open
you?
your mouth until it's in hand.
That's why I'm saying consignment. I found as a much.
Consignment, yeah.
Again, I never really knew about consignment until 6 months ago,
Yeah.
and I'm finding at the moment that consignment for us, not every piece, not all pieces, but certainly for some pieces works well.
Yeah.
And I didn't mention it to that guy with the Sky Dweller, but again, only because I don't want to overpromise and underdeliver. If I say to him, look, my offer would be like 18 grand, but on consignment you might get 21, 22. I don't know whether I'd ever get him that. That's the problem.
Wouldn't get him that either. You wouldn't get him that either.
No,
But
maybe.
I think what you have to do, you have to give. But I think also what happens is, if you take something in at a realistic sort of price, if the price drops, you call them and say, look,
Yeah.
the market's moved a bit.
Yeah.
We ain't never selling this. And to be honest, why would I give you 2 grand more than I can buy one for? Because I just buy
on
my
call.
own one and sell that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's
it's
the
got to
same-
be in line with what
It's got to be in line,
it's
correct.
gonna
And
cost
also,
me.
you've got to make them feel like if it's especially if it's a client that's bought loads of pieces from you.
Yeah.
You know, you're gonna do it happily because you've already earned from him anyway. You're gonna help
Yeah.
him out. You're gonna earn again.
Yeah.
Keep him happy. When he's got some more money,
Yeah.
he's gonna buy something else.
As long as he's
You know?
realistic.
Like
With anything,
but
got to be
most of-
realistic about what
but,
it's
you know,
worth.
most of your clients, what I find, the ones that
Listen to you.
listen to me and
Yeah.
come back to me,
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah.
You know, because I've guided them right in the first place.
Yeah.
You know.
That's why they're in profit now.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, I
I've got
agree.
clients like that. It's just where I'll be honest, I don't buy off them.
Yeah.
It's strictly just consignment.
Yeah.
But we have a very good understanding
Yeah.
where literally whatever he gets, he go ish.
Yeah.
This is what I want. Cool. That's realistic.
Yeah.
It works. It's fair.
Yeah.
And I get to earn off it as well.
And you've
Just-
got a
With
window
no
full of
outlay.
watches without,
Yeah.
without having
Without
to pay
outlay,
for it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, a lot of these watches you buy, if you knew how long you was going to have them, you'd have never bought them in the first place.
Exactly.
And it's actually the return on the money's terrible.
Yeah,
you think
yeah,
yourself,
Yeah.
there's like, you get a paper round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you
Well,
know
that's
what I
why
mean?
at the moment I'm not kind of. Listen, I'm a serial buyer. I can't
Yeah.
help it.
Yeah.
But at the moment, I'm having to hold myself back a little bit because I'm looking. Oh, that's cheap, and then I actually think, let me
Next week it's not.
do some
Yeah.
research
Yeah.
and see where it was
Yeah.
a week ago, or where it was a
Yeah.
couple of days ago, and that's why I'm kind of.
And
all
probably
right.
anticipate where it's going
Yeah,
to be in a
anticipate,
couple of
you know.
days.
And there's been plenty of times recently when, like, I bought something and thought, that's 2 grand cheaper than any I've seen in
Yeah.
the trade.
And then the next week it's that same price.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
just
and
happened
then
to-
a week
now
after that,
all
it's
of a
2 grand
sudden-
dearer.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
end user is the only option.
Yeah.
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 There is no. So ideally, when you're buying things, you like to think
You're in
nick a
good.
monkey or a grand
Yeah.
quickly,
Yeah.
straight away in the trade, wouldn't
Yeah.
you?
Yeah.
And you try
That's
and
your
get a little bit-
insurance.
Yeah.
That's-
And then you
that's
try and
your
resell it for 3 or 4
insurance,
weeks.
isn't
If it doesn't go, you're happy to trade it.
Yeah.
If you're lucky to make 500 quid or get out of it, you're happy. But at the moment, I think the way the game is at the moment, you've got to be keen on what you're
Yeah.
buying because next week could be lower.
I had a client of mine works close to my building, and he had a white dial Sky Dweller. I'm not sure if you guys saw it.
I saw.
posted it up.
I actually showed that to my daughter's godfather
Yeah.
because
It
he's
was
given
cheap.
me one.
It was
cheap.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But
'Cause
so
yeah.
you're going back to like the whole broker thing. I saw that same pictures that he sent me of the watch
Yeah.
being punted around in groups
Doesn't surprise me.
for $1,000 more than I eventually
Yeah.
sold
Wow.
it.
Yeah.
See what I mean?
You know,
Yeah.
and it's not even in hand.
Well, it's funny
Yeah.
that
It's not even in your hands.
It's not
yet.
even mine.
No,
Yeah, and
no.
then he's basically said to me, "What would you buy it?" I gave him a figure.
Yeah.
And it must have been that I was the only one giving him
The
a
figure, yeah, 'cause
He
everyone else was
like,
brokering it.
Cool, no problem. I'll
yeah,
send it to you.
yeah.
Paid him, and I'll be honest, I put it into
'Cause
the
my
trade.
daughter's
Put it in nice and cheap
Yeah.
and it got sold straight
The thing
away.
is, I
yeah.
think
His
though,
was the same 2017
Yeah.
as well, and he bought it off of his pal when things were okay, and he gave 17 grand for it.
Yeah.
And we was having lunch on Sunday like with the family, and he's gone, "No, that white Sky
that
Dweller." I said to
question.
him, "I screenshotted something to show you,
Yeah.
because it's sitting in my safe, because it's safe for him there." And I've gone, "There you go. That's how much it is." And he almost fell off his
Yeah.
chair.
And
Yeah.
that was a complete set as well.
Yeah, and I
the
said to
one
him,
I had.
don't think you ain't paying for lunch today just because I showed you how much
Yeah.
money you spent on that watch.
It's funny because a client came in on the same day you posted that,
Yeah.
and we've actually taken the watch off him on consignment. It was 2020 new card, so it was a bit newer than yours.
Yeah.
But he's paid 16.5 for it. That's what he kind of wants his money back, and don't think it's going to happen, but we're
But do you know
trying.
what?
So at the time, though,
We're trying.
when things were good, that was actually
Yeah, not a bad price.
Not a
Yeah,
bad
yeah.
price.
No, I agree.
But do you know, I think what happens is, and people are very short-sighted on it and have very short memories. He's got one customer, some a few watches over quite a short period of time, and I called him, offered him 70 grand profit on his 3 watches.
He refused.
He went, no, I think they're going up. I think this is going to be this. I think that's going to be. I think I'm going to be 100 grand in profit soon. I go, maybe you will, maybe you won't. The only thing I can say is, you never bought them to wear, right? You bought them
To earn money.
to
Yeah.
invest.
Yeah.
In less than a year,
You've earned 70k.
you can earn 70 grand.
Yeah.
And maybe they go up, maybe they go down. But all I know is, you've got 70 grand
In your hand.
coming your way. Would you go and buy a watch or two for 70 grand and have
Yeah.
all your money back?
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
I said,
yeah.
so that sounds like a good day to me. So he went, no, so I'm going to hold on, no problem. So anyway, this is when he was trying to buy a stock. No one think he was going mad.
Yeah,
And there
yeah.
was still profit in there. Oh, I think they're worth a bit more. Yeah, well, that's where I come in.
Yeah.
I'm the bit
Yeah.
more.
I'm a little bit more, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not the registered charity no more.
No.
Right, so then he called me, when the price is dropping. Oh, my watches, mate. Yeah, what about them? Yeah. Oh, I've done a load of dough. Well, you ain't really done dough because you're probably 30
You're still in
grand up,
profit. Yeah.
Yeah.
not
yeah.
70
yeah.
grand.
Yeah.
I went, but
And
you was
haven't sold
greedy.
it
Yeah.
either.
Right?
Yeah.
You wanted 100 grand profit. Right?
Yeah.
I said,
Yeah.
so you was unrealistic and you was greedy and now you're paying the price. Right? So I went, but you ain't done no dough. And what you going to do? What you going to do with the, like, you ain't got nothing better to put the money into.
Yeah.
Just don't keep the watches.
But
you're still in profit.
even if he was 30 grand upside down, he hasn't actually lost the money until
you
he
sell 'em.
sell it.
Till you
So,
sell 'em, yeah.
so that way, it turns into a long-term investment.
Yeah.
You
Instead
put
of
them
a short
away.
term, yeah.
You don't even think about it anymore.
But then it's like, shall I cash them out? I went, well, you're the problem. People like you are the problem. They're dropping, let's cash out. I said,
Yeah.
We saw a
if
lot
I
of
wanted
that.
a rose olive and I wanted this and I want that, it's about 4 million of them at the moment.
And
Because
remember when you were looking for a rose olive when they were high?
Yeah. And no
You
one
know,
had them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was like, you say I'm looking for a rose olive, and then another 10 people behind you, and me.
And me. Yeah,
So-
yeah.
so when they started, right, so I think I just sold a rose olive. I'd sold a rose olive for 41 and a half. Someone rang up and said, I want one. I've been let down by 2 people. So I said, well, what you been quoted or whatever else. So he said, 40, I think it was 40, 43, 44 grand, something like that. Anyway, so I said, look, so I thought, I've just sold one for 41 and a half, literally the day before. So I thought, price has moved a little bit. 45 grand, I'll get you one.
Yeah.
But you've got to send me, no,
I remember,
43, no,
yeah,
it's
you
about
know,
47,
yeah,
might
yeah.
be 47
Yeah,
grand.
I remember we had
something,
this
whatever it
conversation. Yeah.
So what happened was, I said, send your 7 grand as a deposit. Right? I said, because, I've been let down. Mate, I said, I ain't buying you a 40 odd grand watch.
Without a
Just
deposit.
because
Yeah.
I never spoke to you before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, you want it, I don't.
Yeah.
Right, send some money or I don't buy it. It's up
Yeah.
to you, whatever
Yeah.
you feel
Yeah,
Anyway, I said, but I will get you one. Ended up, so bear in mind, in that day or so, I thought
It went up again.
2 grand anyway. I had to beg someone to sell me one
Yeah.
to earn 500 quid.
Yeah.
Now, bearing in mind, they
Christ.
wanted a grand more than
The
I'd
day
sold
before,
it
than you
for.
sold. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But the fella that I bought it from, I'd give him 2 or 3 grand more than he asked me the day before. Right? I said,
Mad.
come on, mate. I said, help me out. a bit,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I said, I got it sold. It's
You're
the
just
same
putting the
watch.
price up because you can.
Yeah.
I said,
Yeah.
help me out a bit. I said, I'm happy to give you more money because the price is big.
Yeah.
I said, well, let me get something. So to not let the bloke down, I earned 500 quid out of 47 grand or whatever it was
Yeah.
watch, which is not the best business, is it?
No,
But you know, though, it's also a monkey that you wouldn't have earned anyway.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's how you got to look at it. And
And
potentially,
but I
go-
did also said, transfer that money a bit lively.
Yeah.
I said,
'Cause I ain't paying for
don't-
it, yeah.
I ain't waiting.
Francis.
and also furthermore, that's
Maybe better if he never, because I could have got 50 odd a week.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
Oh, yeah. That's why sometimes when they
But
let
that's
you
the
down.
quality
Yeah.
they've never had after. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You might always be his man now because you didn't
Yeah,
let him
yeah.
down.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, I mean, I've done what I said I'd do, so
Yeah.
And that's all you can do in this game.
Speaking of
If
which,
you-
I need a 228 238 with a white Roman dial. I've had
I
20
need one as
people
well.
message me saying to me, "I've got the dial." Back and that's great, mate. I need the whole watch.
Is that a kid in London? And I've got the dial, by the way, if you need it.
21 people have rang me and said they've got the dial.
Has anyone not got the
So,
dial?
No, I've got the dial. Fucking Scott Kendrick stuck that dial up me about a year ago.
It's my pal's nephew. So
Okay.
it might be.
So,
Actually, I've got
yeah.
a white Roman dial, I've got a day date 2 yellow gold.
So he specifically said he don't want a day date 2 because
Right,
my pal's got the day date 2 and he
I
said I want
changed
the
a
I
lot.
prefer the
White
day
Roman
date too.
numeral.
Yeah.
day date 2.
Lovely watch that actually.
Could be yours.
Can we break for the toilet? Because
Shall
I'm
we?
absolutely dying. Literally.
I'll have it.
I
a
can
long
wait.
10 minutes.
I can wait.
Hold on.
I can wait.
There was something off the back of what you were saying that was making me think, and obviously I've not been in the game anywhere near as long as all you lads have, but I've noticed that typically, obviously, it's probably the people I'm coming across as well, being yourselves and Lee and everyone in our work. But when you're selling someone a watch, you're selling it because you're passionate about the watch. You're not trying to be a car salesman to someone and make a fortune off it. You are just trying to give them the best advice you could possibly.
They sell themselves in a lot of
Exactly.
cases, don't they?
You
That's
don't
what I do
need to
like.
lie
Yeah,
about
no.
what you're saying.
People coming in,
You
I
know.
think,
Yeah.
when I think selling a watch, if they know and trust you, if you want, like, a lot of it's a formality, just picking it up.
Yeah,
So if it's someone that don't really know you, they don't want to come in and see the condition.
they
If
want the
someone knows
experience a
you-
little
Yeah.
bit.
If someone knows you, you say, look, it's brand new, it's this, it's that, whatever, perfect condition. They come in, yeah, I'll take it, and they come and collect it, whatever. But
Or you put it in
I
the
think-
post or whatever, you send it out with a courier.
yeah,
or
so I
whatever.
think with,
Yeah.
but they've already sold it to themselves.
Yeah,
So maybe they don't know what they want. It might be out of 2 or 3, and they want to try a couple on or something. But generally, it's already sold in
I
their
think
head.
they like the experience.
Yeah.
I found a lot, especially since we've had the boutique. A lot of people want to come in. They don't maybe get treated like that from an AD. I think the ADs have lost their way a little bit. If you're
so
buying
maybe
them,
we'll give you a glass of champagne, but there's no banter.
no, I don't think.
You come into one of our places. You're
Yeah.
gonna,
Yeah.
you know, you can have a lot. It doesn't matter whether they're in work clothes, whether they're in
Well,
a
the thing is,
suit.
we're probably a bit more approachable
Yeah.
and normal. And
Yeah.
We're not like say yes sir, no sir, but we're just more normal.
And we've got stock. We've got stuff for them to try on and see, and
Well, that's it. As ADs
yeah,
don't
yeah,
have.
yeah.
People
Well, they,
want that, don't they?
yeah.
They want that experience
People
when
can
they buy
walk
a watch.
into our stores and walk away with something,
Yeah.
opposed
Yeah.
to walking in, trying it on,
Being told
and
no.
You might get one in
Well, the amount of
26
people
years.
that come into us and say, "Wow, we can't believe we can try on all these different watches, or actually see these watches in one place."
Yeah.
that-
Yeah.
Yeah, I think also in the old days when people used to say to me, "Are you getting this in?" and I'd be like, "I actually don't know." Watches would come in daily from all
Yeah.
different places and all different times, and I wouldn't know what was coming in from one day to the next
Yeah.
unless you want to put down a deposit and make
Yeah.
it a sold order, which in
Yeah.
which case you'll have it within 7 days. It would just anything was in stock at any
But
time,
you also
and
do get some mad questions from end users, like selling them a pre-owned watch. How many owners is it?
oh, I've had
You
that.
know,
Yeah, I've had
Every
that.
just check the
It's
logbook.
like-
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
It's
Yeah.
not a car.
Yeah.
No, I mean I'm quite grateful that they
Yeah.
changed the cards to not have the year and the,
And not
sorry,
having
the,
the person's
Name and address.
Yeah, name and address.
Yeah, that's helpful.
That was,
That's
very,
GDPR.
that was a
though.
very poor idea, I think.
It was a
of course
dumb
it was.
move,
And
yeah,
the AD
yeah.
wouldn't release the watch without a name and address on
Yeah.
on there.
But see, keeping
So-
the name and address makes sense.
on the
on
system.
file on
On
the
the
system,
system,
yeah,
yeah,
but not on the
correct.
Why
watch.
have you got
Yeah.
on a card
No.
that's
Yeah.
Well,
non-transferable?
the other, non-transferable warranty. The warranty's with the
Non-changeable.
with the watch and not
you're
the
now
person.
showing
So
where
what's
that
the
person
point? Yeah.
lives as well.
But
Yeah.
I think what we were talking about when it was a little while ago with that Web 3.0, where when you buy a new watch, you get an NFT attached to it, so they actually see.
Is that being
Yeah.
done though? Or is that something that's
Well, that's. I think
been
I
talked
think-
about, I
Yeah, it's
think.
been talked
Yeah,
about. So
yeah.
you buy the watch direct from the AD, it's registered to you. You then sell it to Ish. You have to transfer the NFT
Yeah.
to
so
Ish.
that's what's tracking the
So
sale
that's
or the
what's
movement of the
tracking
watch.
The sale of the movement. So the AD knows all the way through that watch's
Where it's
life.
going, yeah.
So
where
just
it's
so let me
gone.
understand. So the NFT has that. So it's like a tracker in the watch. You mean?
It's not in the watch. No, it's so.
But it's- but what I'm
the
saying is
It's
How does
assigned
it-
to the watch.
Yeah.
So it's like a
Assigned to the
serial
watch.
number assigned to the watch.
So with
So
like a
does it-
certificate.
Like
So
a
does
digital
it-
token.
So does it need to? But
Well, if you don't transfer it with the watch,
it's got no warranty.
yes,
Yeah.
that would be the
You've got-
the
and really, you've
methodology
got, like-
behind
and
it.
if you
Yeah.
continue to own the token, you can actually
You could add
then-
value to the watch.
Yeah, or you can actually claim and say,
That's
that
mine,
watch has
yeah.
been stolen. You actually own the watch. It's
Yeah.
like having the logbook to a
Oh,
car.
right, okay.
Yeah.
But whether or
That's
not,
probably a good idea.
but whether or not that would take off, I don't know. As in whether or not that's
You know, going back to the AD thing, I had a client about 2 months ago. So it's a regular client of mine's father-in-law. Never bought an expensive watch in his life. Wanted to celebrate a milestone birthday, and got it in his head. I want to go to Rolex
yeah.
and buy my watch. Picked that a sub
Be
date,
lucky with that.
right?
yeah.
Sub day.
He went with the whole family, and he,
This
and
is next week's birthday.
Yeah.
I get it.
Oh my
my
god!
client's saying to him, "Go and see Ish."
But I couldn't be in a
Don't go to
business
the
that
AD.
does that.
He goes to the AD, worst experience ever.
Yeah.
Almost laugh at him out the
Yeah.
store.
Yeah, and that's
Right.
disgusting because
And then-
that's
That's
and,
what's
and
horrible
he
about
couldn't
that.
understand
Yeah.
it, so he's
Yeah.
come to see me with like his
With stock,
son-in-law,
yeah.
and got one in stock. Tries it, hour and a half later, walks out, happiest geezer alive.
Yeah.
That's it. He's not buying another watch.
no.
Yeah.
That is his one piece. and
That's
he
his
had a brilliant
grail watch,
experience.
yeah, and
compared
that's-
to the AD, for example,
But
basically
he might not buy
laughing at
another
him.
watch, but he might tell every other person
Exactly, yeah.
About the
that
experience.
about the experience and
Exactly
say,
that.
no, this is
And that's
the
where
man
they
who
get it
does
wrong.
Yeah.
They're the instances where Rolex get it wrong.
It's
but-
not the glass of champagne.
No.
It's
So
your
my mate,
interaction.
when Pepsi come out, Rolex Pepsi come out,
Yeah.
like the latest one, I said to him, mate, just go and put your name down. No, it was announced. He wouldn't put his name down in a Rolex AD. And if it's the day it come out, the day after. So I said, look, there'll be money in it later on, right? If you never get it, whatever, but if you get it, it's good, right? Just for that, put your name down. He walked in and they said, I would like to put my name down for this watch. They went, have you bought from us before? No, I haven't, no. Well, you got no chance to get my name then, sir.
Yeah.
Nice attitude.
So he said, well, what do you mean? So I said, well, he said that, well, we'll probably get 2 a year, maybe 4. We've already got 40 names down.
Yeah, within 40
You'll never
hours.
get one.
Yeah.
So he went, well, where would you suggest, you being a Rolex AD, where would you suggest that I would go? Because if I can't come to you, where can I go? They went, well, we don't know. Right, but you're not getting one from us. So he said, like, what a shitty experience.
Yeah.
Like, how you dealt with that. Because
Yeah.
there's a lot of look, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And
Correct.
Correct.
Yeah. There was a lot of different
So-
ways to approach
Yeah.
that customer.
There's a lot of
yeah.
ways you can say, look, we're so sorry, we've got so many names down, it's really unlikely you're going to get one, but look, we're sorry, we'll look into it. That's
And you
better
can,
than...
and you can
But
even
that
say,
also-
you know, like,
And they just
we'll
laughed
put,
at him as
you
if
know,
say, he said, but I felt such an idiot going in
yeah,
there.
we'll put your name on a, you know, on a reserve list, just,
Yeah.
just to make them feel like they're
Yeah,
something.
like a bit of hope maybe.
Yeah,
or-
But I
you
also
know-
wonder if he does that same move with multiple stores, he'll be treated differently in each store. There's no blanket
Yeah.
policy for how he
There
was
isn't a
treated.
blanket policy, but I think that the people that are in the ADs, they're trained
Yeah, but you know,
that way.
for me as well,
Speak to people that way.
isn't he your perfect customer? Isn't he your good customer that you want, who's new to the brand, experiencing the brand for the first time, and certainly not a flipper, and not someone who wants to watch for himself? That to me is a perfect customer. But
I think the problem with
naivety
the
to not
ADs
see
is
that.
a lot of them feel like every potential person that
Is a
walks in
flipper.
is a flipper.
Yeah.
And that's why they're so like
Yeah, but they're
guarded up
selling them
now.
to all the flippers.
I know, that's the irony.
And also-
that is the
Again and
irony.
again and
The irony
Also,
is
they
that
don't mind
they're
making
flippers.
people buy a load of crap they don't want.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Oh, buy,
yeah.
If you buy
a
this-
diamond tennis bracelet for 40 grand.
Yeah.
And
Buy this
That's only
on
worth
Mike
10.
All of a
Tyson.
sudden,
Yeah.
all of a sudden, oh, there's your steel Daytona.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You know, because they're earning,
Yeah.
you know, 300% on the
Yeah.
on the tennis bracelet,
Yeah.
but not, you know,
It's
15% on the Daytona.
So yeah, so how it's done is very much like, it's not very ethical, I don't think, is it? How they do it? Because it's like you've got to buy all these other things
They know what they're
just to
doing.
get
Yeah.
this, right?
They know
Well,
what
that's
they're
why there's
doing.
a waiting list for everything,
Yeah,
every model.
Yeah.
There.
Yes,
That's why
correct.
there's.
So it was
there's-
actually quite a clever ploy.
So back in the
To
day,
get people buying Datejust.
Yeah.
That nobody
well,
would.
Yeah.
You think, like when ADs used to have, I think an AD back in the day used to have a Rolex AD. I don't know if this is true or not. Was supposed to carry about 2 million in stock.
Correct.
yeah. To have the license.
Yeah.
Yeah,
On a piece was
Yeah.
sold.
So if you sold 2 or 3, you had to replace it with
Yeah.
other models. You had to buy things you wanted, things you didn't want,
Yeah.
popular things,
Yeah,
unpopular
with-
things.
Yeah.
It's like diamond floral stuff.
Yeah.
You know.
And that's why a lot of the watches years ago used to have like
Jubilee and
Obscure
no, but even
dials
the, but even the papers used to be a few years older than the actual date.
Oh
on
yeah,
the thing,
yeah,
because
it
they
was.
were
Yeah.
stock.
It was.
Yeah.
It was. It
It's
wasn't
stock for
uncommon
3
for us to
years.
see
Yeah.
that. Yeah, more common today.
But sorry, boys, I think
Yeah.
that's the end
Yeah.
of
That's
our,
it.
end of our podcast.
That's it. Until next
Oh, you
time.
forgot to press play.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, it's
Shake your hand quickly now. So you look really Thanks, boys.
you are.
Yeah, I'm going to the toilet. I'm dying.
But yeah,
He's got a wet patch on his seat.
So yeah, hopefully you've obviously enjoyed this episode today. It was a little bit different. I think we could have carried on talking for about 5 hours. So if people like it, let us know in the comments if you want us to do some more of these. I mean, I'd love to. I'm sure these boys would love to do it as well and talk on different topics that you might want to hear. So yeah, thank you for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it, and we'll see you next episode.
Oh, come on, England.
Come on, England, yeah.